Okay. Let's see, should be starting up. There we go, should be live. Yep, there we go, excellent. Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of H-Bit Gaming, short for History Bit Gaming. It's where we take a look at a bunch of retro systems and make our way through the history of different games and where we've come as a people. So today we're going to be checking out the Nintendo 64. I'm Steven, and we have my co-host back with us.
Hello.
So let's get started with one of her favorite franchises, with Kirby 64. So,
We have to put the volume back on.
that's true. There we go. Now we can actually hear what we're playing again. Got a little intro cinematic, I guess, since this is your favorite. Let you have first player controller so you can actually start off playing. So, Nintendo 64 was released about a year after the PlayStation was, in 1996. And if I remember correctly, like, some of their advertising actually kind of was based on the fact that they were coming out after a bunch of other, like, next-gen systems at the time. Where, like, I think one of their advertising slogans was, like, it's, basically asked, like, is it worth the wait? And then, like, it was, like, only if you want the best. But, so it was basically, Nintendo decided to still continue using cartridge-based games, which had its upsides and its downsides. One of the most prominent downsides was the lack of storage space and the cost of programming and producing games on cartridge. Especially the time that it required to actually create the cartridges as opposed to creating CDs. I think it took like something like a week or more to be able to produce the cartridges, because you needed the specialized technology and like production plants to be able to actually create the cartridges and everything involved with that. Whereas CDs were a lot easier and cheaper to manufacture and only took a few days as opposed to like a whole week or more to mass produce. Another upside to CDs as opposed to cartridges is, like I said, the storage space. So a lot of Nintendo 64 games either didn't have a whole lot of voice acting because they just couldn't fit the voices and a lot of the music onto the system or the cartridges that they were using for the system. But they also, when they did actually have like voice acting or music, a lot of times the quality of it was worse because they had to use heavy compression to get everything to actually fit. So I feel like that's a big reason that a lot of the Nintendo 64 games weren't as RPG based, where they wanted more of those cutscenes to be able to make it a more cinematic experience, like on the PlayStation 2 and the other competitors at the time.
Hi, I'm Kirby.
Yeah, this was one of my favorite games when I was younger. It did come out a little bit later on into the console's life, so like a lot of the games I played before this were out a lot earlier. So like Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time was one of the first games I played. Super Mario 64 was an early game in the console's history. And I'm trying to think what else. I don't remember if this came out before or after Pokemon Stadium. That's another one we're going to be checking out today because that'll I get to actually show off. I still have the transfer pack that came with that game. It allows you to not only transfer your own Pokemon over from your Game Boy and Game Boy Color Pokemon games. The first Pokemon Stadium, I think, is just the original 3, Red, Blue, and Yellow. But Pokemon Stadium 2 allowed the Game Boy Color renditions of Pokemon like Crystal and all that kind of stuff.
I like my spiky power. I haven't really needed any other power-ups yet.
One of the things I liked about this game a lot was the sheer amount of different combinations that you can make with all the different power-ups.
Yeah, it said that like every enemy you beat has a different thing associated with it. Alright,
Yeah.
ready? Woo, woo.
There's certain enemies, like I think those guys don't actually give you any sort of power-up, they're just like the normal blank slate enemies. But there's a lot of different types of enemies, like the fire-based, the ice-based, electricity.
This is a boss.
Yeah, it's kind of like the mini-boss. Not very threatening.
I did it! Jules beats one boss!
Hooray! One thing that was also really interesting about this game is how they decided to keep it in like a 2D side-scroller, but have it be like 2.5D, where everything
It's still like
is 3D.
kinda 3D, but not
Yeah.
quite.
Yeah, like it's got the 2D path and like it kind of curves more in like a 3D way though, and all the character models are three-dimensional as
No,
well.
I didn't want to throw away my superpower. Nope, nothing.
Ooh, get the bomb superpower.
Oh, I
And
can
then
just
I
throw bombs now?
I think if
Word.
you mix it with one of the fire ones, it's like fireworks. Like you actually shoot like rockets. You can also use the bomb to break that black platform. I think it's like a hidden... There's like different hidden stuff in each level, or most levels, like those shards. In order to get 100% completion, you have to find like all of those, which in certain levels it's a little bit easier than others. Another interesting about this game is you can actually combine two of the same type. So like if you combine two bombs, it changes.
Does it get a
to
bigger bomb?
I forget exactly what it does. I think it's like a timed bomb or something.
Look how cute! This is so cute! This is why I like Kirby. I've never played most of the Kirby games, but I just enjoy Kirby and its cuteness.
Little Waddle Dee. Oh, I forgot. That's why he
that's the boss.
becomes one-eyed Waddle Dee. Waddle Doo, I think, is what they're called.
No. 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 No.
Another thing that I like about
that
Kirby
way.
games is because of how easy it is to lose the different power-ups and stuff, they always make sure that each boss still has a way to beat them, even if you don't have any power-ups going into it.
I like that.
So like when he rammed into the side of the wall, the invisible wall there, and he ended up like the star like came out, you could basically suck that up and shoot that out at him instead of using the power up if you didn't have anything.
Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to do that.
It's like a bonus game, I think, after each level. I don't know if it's only if you get all three. I think it's whenever you beat a level. The menu select, or the level select in this game actually reminds me a lot of Yoshi's Island as well. It's got that like drawn kind of aesthetic to it. And one interesting bit of trivia about this game is originally you were supposed to be able to play as some of the other characters. Like you weren't just limited to Kirby. Originally they were going to have it where you could play as either Waddle Dee, Kirby, the artist that you meet up with later that I forget her name. And I think even King Dedede, but I'm not completely sure about that one. But there was a bunch of content that ended up getting cut for, I think, both a mixture of just development time. They didn't have quite enough time to really develop everything they wanted, but also possibly
I feel like this is
storage
becoming
space.
a trend. But a lot of games aren't able to develop what they want.
Yeah. And some of the times that's based on like hardware limitations, but other times it's just a matter of trying to rush the game out for either have it available by a certain date because of different holidays or other things like that. If you, let's see, one of the funnier power-up combinations in this game was if you get one of those electricity guys and then one of the ice ones and combine electric and ice, you have to go upwards.
Oh.
It basically turns Kirby into a refrigerator that spits out all sorts of food items, so you basically get to heal yourself by eating all the food that Kirby spits out.
I like how we have Christmas music now.
Yeah, it does have that Christmassy kind of bell.
Hi, other Kirby. Ah. Stars.
The animations are very fluid, especially for the time.
They're just so cute.
Very nice use of color in the backgrounds and everything too.
I'm going. I'm taking a drop. What's that?
It's one of those,
No!
Oh, that's
no!
right.
I just died. I made a sacrifice.
I forgot that, I think in the older games, Kirby can float a certain amount of times.
No, you can do it in this game too.
In this one, I think it also just, it also is based on how long he's been holding his breath, not just the amount of times you can float. Because I know on the older games, I think it didn't really have that time limit, but in this one, you can kind of see Kirby start to get like...
Because I know in the newer games, you get like 3 puffs and then you fall.
Yeah.
So I thought I had my little 3 breaths and then I was going to be good. And then I can catch back up.
Yeah, forget what the maximum is on this one.
No!
Yeah, it's more time-based.
It's time. Oh my goodness.
It's interesting. I like all the other ones I think are like just based on a specific amount of times you can jump before you run out of gas.
Alright,
so to speak.
Once I get to this platform, we could switch games.
Yeah, I'll jump into Pokemon Stadium, I guess, because I was just talking about that one in the transfer pack.
I know absolutely nothing about Pokemons other than Squirtle and Pikachu. And I know there's a movie coming out, but other than that,
yeah, the Detective
I know nothing.
Pikachu movie.
The really creepy Pikachu. They took Pikachu, the like cutest character ever, and they made it creepy. They made it look like Ted.
I've seen some even weirder looking, like like fan-made art of like realistic Pokemon, and like, oh man, some of them are scary looking. So yeah, with these ones, since they don't actually give you any power-ups, I think you just gotta spit them at the big bouncy.
Come here, little bouncy. Bye, big bouncy. Come here, little bouncy.
Yeah, a lot of these mini bosses are not exactly very...
They're not even shooting anything at me.
challenging.
They're just kind of chilling.
Yeah. Kind of makes you wonder how much Kirby is actually the bad guy.
Alright, we can switch.
Yeah, this is the artist. This is the actual boss, I think, of the level. She draws stuff. But yeah, so she used to be a playable character before they ran out of time. I do like the aesthetic of the different, like the different blends of both the 3D as well as like her painted stuff. I don't remember. Oh, that's right. You just have to like wait out. Why is that all blurred? Why is that pixelated like that? That was weird. Oh. think I can eat that guy. No. I don't think those give you the ice power up. I'm not completely sure. Nope, they don't. Because they're drawings. Come on. One more hit and then you're dead. There we go. So one thing about the controller too that's interesting is... Oh, never mind. Okay. That boss battle is long enough. I'm going to just swap it over. So one thing that's interesting about the controller is the fact that it's shaped like a trident. It's got the different separate areas. Part of the reason I think they did that is because a lot of the games either use just the analog stick or just the D-pad. So you would basically switch off on how you held the controller based on what the game you were playing for at the time called for, which I can kind of understand why they did, but it's still just a really weird design to me that you would, like, it's just that oddly shaped. I never had as many issues with it as other people have in terms of like finding it uncomfortable and everything. Oh, that game was definitely louder than Kirby was. And then turn that down slightly. Let's go for there.
Pikachu! So they have, what's it called in this game? The ones from Pokemon Go that are really relevant. Damn, I can't remember what it's called.
They do actually have mini games.
Pidgeys. Are there Pidgeys?
Yes, there are Pidgeys.
I used to tell my friend he had the life equivalent to the Pidgey.
I remember where you transfer over Pokemon from the transfer pack. I do know you can play the actual Pokemon games using it. So you can actually use up to 4 different transfer packs. I don't think you'd ever really need to have them all plugged in at once. Yeah, so this was one of the earlier ways that you could actually play Game Boy, very specific Game Boy games on the Nintendo 64. I don't think they ever actually made a cartridge like they did for the Super Nintendo. I'm not completely sure about that though. There's a Pidgey in the top left. Does not look like Pidgey.
Does not look like a modern day Pidgey at all.
The sprite work in a lot of these, in the older games, were just weird. So yeah, I've been playing my Pokemon Red game. Wow, that's trippy.
Oh my goodness. It looks so much older than what we just played.
So the color thing hasn't changed too much, but like a lot of the other sprites, like that's Nidorino. He's almost dead too. One of the earlier RPGs I played, I think the first one I ever really played was Super Mario RPG for Super Nintendo, but oh, come on, don't miss.
How exactly do you play this game?
So it's
you
basically
just select attacks to kill it?
Role-playing game where you start off with one Pokemon, and then, so I started off with Charmander, who I've evolved into Charizard. And they basically learn different attacks over time. You can only have a maximum of 4 different attacks per Pokemon. Some of them look pretty similar to what they were eventually, but other ones have changed a bit. Like Charizard looks closer to Dragonite with wings and fire than he does in the other games.
I don't know what any of that means, but I'm gonna go with it.
This is Moltres, definitely a weird one. So yeah, another fun thing about this game is you can actually, if you beat certain aspects of like the stadium battles and stuff, you can actually unlock the Doduo and Dodrio Tower for the Game Boy Tower. I think you have to beat all 4 in the Poké Cup. But It actually allows you to play your Pokemon games at both 2 times speed and 4 times speed, I think, which was you weren't able to do aside from through this game up to this point. So, I guess let's play some. Go to the kids club and play some mini games. Let's do like a short. Press A button, I guess, to join in. There we go. Normal, I suppose. Let's do a nice short one, so we can move on to another one. Kind of limited on the different mini games, but there's definitely a little bit of variety. All right, so yeah, this one you use control pad to aim, and you just flick the control stick to toss.
Wait, it's not flicking.
You have to pull it back and
Oh,
then...
back. So far I have one.
Me too. There's like golden Diglets too every once in a while that you can get. Ah. It's hard to control exactly how far you want. You stole my Diglet. There we go. Come on. Oh, there's a golden one. I think there were 3?
No! I wanted that one.
There's another one. To the right.
I can't get the close ones. I was only able to get the far away ones.
Yeah, okay. There we go. I finally managed to get one of the closer ones.
I got 4. I beat the computers.
Both the computers, I like how they're like slightly aimed towards each other. Like they're like, dang it, I didn't win this time. I got a gold star. Oh, that's right. The less wins you have, the more likely you are to be able to choose which game we play next. The fairy says. I remember this one. It's basically just a memorization game.
What am I doing?
So, you gotta listen to the teacher, Clefairy, and remember those. I remembered the first 2. Wasn't paying enough attention.
I wasn't either. Oh my god, they're so cute!
I already got 2. Okay, there we go. Up, left, down, up. Damn it, I ran out of time. Oh, no.
Oh my god, they're so cute. I've never seen anything more
Wow.
precious.
I am almost out of this match already. Oh, I don't remember these 2.
I think I effed
out.
up the last 2.
I definitely messed up at least one of the last 2, probably both. No? Oh, I'm still out anyway. This one gets really hard after a while. Like,
No, I ran out of time. No! I was doing so well. I knew the last 2 also. Oh, it's the same thing over and over, it just adds them?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I was rememorizing everything. I would have used a much different strategy.
I don't know what happens if you get to the point where you make it past this one. Like if...
You probably just win and the computers just die. Ready?
I don't know if there's a way that it does the ties or if it like starts over again from the beginning.
If I get to pick, I'm picking this one.
Well, we lost to a computer, but now it's between you and the yellow computer to choose the next mini game. Let's see.
Aw. Cries.
The Snore Wars.
See, this is more my speed video game.
Random mini games.
Yeah, because I played like Mario Party as a kid. I didn't play any like intense games.
Yeah, I always liked the WarioWare series for like the Nintendo DS and some of the other systems because of that. You just have to press A when it gets to the middle. Work on that timing. Here we go. Nope. Alright, gotta get in that groove. I'm like so focused. Oh man, it gets fast. I forgot how fast it gets. Jeez. How? How are you supposed to do that properly? Oh, come on. Nope. Wow. I think both the computers fell asleep at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, draw.
They
I
fell
didn't
asleep
understand. So you clicked A every time it hit the middle?
Every time it hits that red thing in the middle and turns like bright white like that. Oh, nobody won that one.
Yay!
Hey, you get to
Alright, we're
choose
playing
now.
the dancing one again.
The Cliff Fairy.
Wait, which one is it?
Down
This
there.
one?
Cliff Fairy says,
I'm sorry, it's just so cute.
best student wins.
Alright, here we go. This is my game.
Easy enough. They're so high-pitched. So I think the transfer pack could also be used for certain other games, like Perfect Dark actually allowed you to use it for specific weapons and things like that. And eventually with the GameCube, they kind of expand on it and make the entire Game Boy Advance connectable to the system as a secondary screen. It's really cool to me how Nintendo is able to, I forgot the last two because I'm talking, was able to like basically use the same concepts and then refine them over time from generation to generation. So I think it's basically whoever has the most health by the end of this.
Oh, I messed up the last two.
I think I messed up the last four because I misdid the... Maybe not? Nope, yeah, I definitely did. Well, I'm out again.
Yeah!
The victor!
Oh. Be okay.
There we go. Oh, man.
Alright, now that I got my star, we can play whatever other game. It doesn't matter. I just wanted my star. Sushi go around. I could eat sushi right now.
I could definitely go for sushi.
Press
So
the A button to eat the sushi. The bigger spender wins. Eat the same kind in a row to score more points. I don't understand.
So basically, the sushi will go around in a circle around us. You basically have to try to eat the most amount of money and rack up the highest bill. So like going for like the $1,000, $600
But
sushis.
I'm not gonna be able to memorize which sushi is which. Yeah. Alright, I want the orange and the red ones. Alright, let's go.
And avoid that like, I think it's just a thing of wasabi. So it makes you like lose control of your character for a little bit because they can't handle the spice.
Oh, I can move?
Yeah. You can
Oh,
move
didn't
around.
know that. No, I want the red one.
Haha. Ericha! I have no idea what they're saying. Yeah. No! There we go. Stop pushing me out of the way, computer! The red computer literally just like pushed me out of the way to steal one of my pieces of sushi. Come on. Oh, the aiming in this is not the best. Come on, come on, come on. There we go. Oh no, I accidentally ate wasabi. I remember playing a lot of it, like these mini games as a kid. Like when we got tired of battling each other, like regular Pokemon
I
battles
have like
and stuff?
0 coins right now.
How the hell did the red computer get that much money? How did the yellow computer get that much money? Ooh, I get to pick now. Let's see. Here's the Magikarp Splash. Rock Harden. Skip the Magikarp one. Because Magikarp is super derpy and I've always loved him. Alright. So you want to try to
I think I get it.
splash the counter as much as possible. You want to time it so you jump faster. The hardest part about this minigame is not laughing. Over the top. Can you imagine being the voice actor that had the big Garp! Okay. Yay!
Officially my favorite game we've played so far.
Fairy says, yeah. It's a good one. Alright, so that was Pokemon Stadium. Unless you want to do a quick battle before we go on to a different game, but we have a bunch of other games we can get through.
Let's go.
I think everybody knows exactly how Pokemon battles work anyway. So, that was Pokemon Stadium. I really appreciate the whole transfer pack thing. It was really cool. Blew like little younger me's mind to be able to actually see like the Pokemon I've been playing on Game Boy. Especially because like this was the first time I saw him in 3D and in color. Alright, I'm gonna move on to Super Smash Bros. The original. The one before Melee came out. I remember playing this game all the time as a kid with family and friends. I remember how fat Pikachu was in the early renditions. Okay.
Are all the games that are played on, I mean, all the characters that are played on Smash Bros, are they all the same maker?
They're all Nintendo franchises, so various different, let's do stock, I guess, first options. So yeah, various different, like, creators for the character designs and everything. I think the only thing they have in common is they're from Nintendo franchises, and even with the newer ones, they kind of got away from that because, like, Solid Snakes and Brawl, so they've basically partnered with other franchises and other companies to be able to use their I'll go for lots of items. Sure, why not?
Free for all!
Kirby!
I always forget exactly how few characters there are.
Oh, you can't change the color in this one?
You can. I think it's the C buttons, the various different C buttons.
I'm gonna be yellow Kirby.
What level should I put the CPU on?
I don't care. I'm gonna be bad either way.
Let's put one on like 4 and the other one on like 8. Let's see how that goes. I guess I'll... I always did like Pikachu. Yeah. I think I always used to main either Pikachu or Fox. Occasionally Link or Samus, but like...
How do you move with this, right?
Move is with the control stick, the analog stick. A button is attack, B button is like special attack. Different directionals and the A button.
Do I not have my hammer yet in this game?
I don't think so. I think you have like the down B is rock form, up B is that cutter thing, and regular B is your swallow copy ability. Since there weren't the side Bs yet in this one, those didn't come out until Melee.
Wait, how do I get back up?
Oh yeah, up on the control pad, or up on the control stick is jump, as well as I think the C buttons are also jump. You can jump multiple times with Kirby, like in every other Kirby game, but other characters usually only have 2 jumps as well as then the up B attack. And some characters have better up Bs than others for trying to get back onto. Come on, Luigi, stop it with the fire flower. It's not even how you use a fire flower. Get out of here with that. One thing I always liked about Pikachu is like if you are moving to the left or right fast enough, you can actually not get hit by your down B lightning strike, which allows you to like continue going pretty quickly afterwards. Ow! Jigglypuff, what are you doing? Come on. Get out of here with that nonsense. Definitely a good game. Very limited, especially compared to like Super Smash Bros. Melee, which came out.
I died again.
I think you might be able to. There is the your up B attack, which if you press up and B at the same time, allows you to get a 3rd jump in, or I guess for Kirby it's like a 7th or 8th. Forget exactly how many times you can.
Oh, I got my rock finally.
Oh, you almost killed me with it too. Ow.
I finally figured out how to do the rock. Wait, let's figure out how to do that again.
Ow! You just straight up kicked me in the face. I remember such a how much of a unique concept this was too at the time.
This game?
Yeah.
It's so simple.
It is a simple, like, in theory, but like at the time, like there wasn't really any other fighting games like this that like crossed multiple different franchises and combined them into one. Like, this was the first one to really do that, I think, unless there was like a Capcom versus Street Fighter before this, but I don't think like there was. Like, especially the fact that there's so many different items from so many different franchises,
yeah.
It's like so many different worlds colliding. And like PlayStation, like Sony tried to recreate it to an extent with like PlayStation All-Stars or Sony All-Stars or whatever that game was. They had a bunch of their franchises kind of mashed up, but from what I've never actually played that one myself, but from what I've heard, it wasn't as well polished. Oh, come on, go put me to sleep. Really, Luigi?
If we play Brawl on the Wii, I'm good at that with Kirby. I know all my controls down. I'm pretty okay. But this one, I can't figure it out.
The controls in this one are definitely a lot more
there's a lot fewer
stiff.
things you could do.
Yeah, it's a lot more stiff, and there's a lot of like.
When Kirby has the hammer, unstoppable.
Yeah, it's almost in a lot of ways like a tech demo. Like there's enough there to be a full-fledged game, but especially compared to how much Melee added to it and how much Melee refined what this game set up, it's basically a glorified tech demo.
My favorite version of this game is, I think it's called Project M. It's like the modified version of Brawl.
Yeah.
It's my favorite. It's like, it's very similar to Melee, but it's not quite the same game. My friend had a copy of it. I don't know if he still does, but that was my favorite modification of this game. It made every character like, and it made all the abilities more even, like equivalent to each other, so no character could like dominate the game.
Yeah, that was a big problem with a lot of the Melee, not Melee games, but like a lot of the Super Smash Bros. Games is like balance between the characters, especially certain characters are just kind of trash, especially on like a lot of the older ones. So yeah, Super Smash Bros. Actually, I guess while I get the other one set up, do you want to check and see exactly how much of a time difference there was between Super Smash Bros. The original and Super Smash Bros. Melee?
Sure.
Because I'm curious.
When did Smash Bros. Come out?
I don't see it. 1996, 97?
Melee was 2001.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, just that many years made such a huge difference in terms of what they could do.
Also, fun fact, Melee is the best-selling Nintendo GameCube video game. It had 7.09 million sales.
That doesn't surprise me. Oh yeah. Okay. So actually, this is a good segue into the fact that the Nintendo 64 had an expansion pack available. I forget exactly how much it increased the memory. If you want to look that up real quick. But it also it did feature save game packs that weren't really as necessary because you could save most of your games directly onto the cartridges.
Mm-hmm.
But there were also memory packs that were really limited in terms of how much storage space they had. But the expansion pack itself was necessary for a handful of games, like Donkey Kong 64, Tony Hawk Pro Skater. No.
Oh my goodness! Wait, I totally played this game the other day at my friend's house. Unrelated thing, I looked up how much Melee costs to buy today. It's $170.
Damn.
To buy it used.
I'm so glad I still have my copy of Melee from back when I was a kid, because I got it for like 50, 60 when it first came out.
I was 3 when it came out, so I can't say I played video games at 3.
So yeah, the controller packs had a really interesting design to them too, because they had to fit into the backs of the controllers themselves, as opposed to like having a slot on the system, like the PlayStation 1 or the PlayStation 2. Right, I was looking for... I guess they don't have the ability to choose which songs? Weird. Okay, that's fine. Any specific mode you want to play?
I guess we're gonna play Trick Attack.
Alright, cool. Guess it'll be Bam Margera, why not?
I'm gonna be Tony Hawk.
Yeah, so there's a handful of games that required the expansion pack to actually, if you want, we can just boost our stats all the way up to add 5 to them. Normally that's what they would be like once you go through. Oh, good, I do have a few levels unlocked. Not all of them, but some. So one big difference between Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 on the N64 as opposed to the GameCube, aside from just the technical disadvantages the N64 version had, they didn't actually have enough space to include all the levels. So like on this one, Tokyo is the last level, whereas on GameCube and PS2, there's also a like a cruise ship level.
Cool.
I guess let's go to the Foundry.
I know on the GameCube we had like memory cards and stuff to save data. Do they not have that on the 64? Is it all internal?
Most of it's internal. There's certain things you could save on the controller, memory packs that went into the actual controllers themselves. But a lot of the times it wasn't full save games because there was so little... 2 minutes, I guess. There was so little actual...
No idea what I'm doing.
The different C buttons are the different types of tricks. A is jump.
Oh, I just did that.
Wow, look at that draw distance too. Like, so you guys will definitely be able to tell how much has changed when we get to the GameCube episode, because we will be revisiting this exact game in the GameCube episode.
Is there a proper way to land?
Upright.
I'm not landing upright very much.
Ooh, that was close. Oh no, I wiped out. So, right. Back to the expansion pack for the N64. I will, after we're done with this, look up exactly how much it expanded the memory by, but there was only a handful of games that actually required it to run. Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask being the one that forced me to buy it because I was such a huge fan of the Ocarina of Time and like the Zelda franchise because of Ocarina of Time, that once Majora's Mask came out, I was like adamant that I needed to be able to play it and had to buy the expansion pack to be able to do so. Donkey Kong 64 is another one, but that's actually not due to the game requiring it itself as much as apparently the coding in the game was so bad that there was a huge error that excess code would just continue to be, would basically continue to build up to the point where eventually the game would just crash and not be able to process it anymore. So when the reason they actually packaged the expansion pack with that game was because it allowed so much more of the code to build up that it would have taken hours before it got to the point where it crashed.
Can we play again?
Yeah. Different level, same level?
Same one.
So they actually, if you leave Donkey Kong 64 on for long enough, even with the expansion pack in, eventually it will crash just because of how badly it was coded, or optimized, I guess, at least. Oh boy.
That's good.
Yeah, so that's actually a perfect example of how little storage space they were dealing with on the cartridges as opposed to the discs. Is a lot of the songs are like not the full songs in this version of the game. Like they'll have little bits and pieces, but a lot of it will just kind of be repetitive clips from the song instead of the entire song. So it's like the intro and then like a little bit of the chorus and then back to the intro and then a little bit of the chorus again. Which really threw me off about playing this game. Whoa, no. I don't know how safe most of these songs are for the copyright thing, so hopefully, even if there are any copyright claims, it'll only be the type that are like, you can't monetize the video, and not the type that get it restricted in other places. Especially because of the fact that the songs are just like short clip versions of themselves. I don't know. We'll see. I was looking for the playlist mode to be able to actually man, I'm messing. Be able to like choose specific songs, because I'm pretty sure this is one of the songs that is not as copyright friendly. This is also part of the reason I'm trying to talk over it as much as I can. I've been playing a lot of Tony Hawk lately.
I was gonna say, my score's lit.
I've gotten really good at comboing stuff again, especially with the manuals and the reverts, which I think the reverts were introduced in this game, not so much Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. Alright, so...
We have time for one more.
One more? Alright, let's check out... Actually, since I already talked about the expansion pack thing, which actually, while I'm setting this up, want to Google exactly how much memory that increased the Nintendo 64's power by? Because I think it doubled it, but I don't remember what the initial memory was. Alright, so originally I was going to play... Actually, yeah, let's do Goldeneye, because that's another good multiplayer game. Originally I was going to do Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, but I'll come on, Goldeneye. Don't do this to me. I cleaned you
4
recently.
megabytes of RAM.
4 megabytes of RAM.
Increasing it from 4 megabytes to 8 megabytes.
So yeah, I did double it. Wow, that's so much. That's so much less than anything would be today. Like, everything's in like terabytes, gigabytes or terabytes now.
My Wii has 2 gigabytes or 4 gigabytes. My Wii U,
Yeah.
I think. But I have an expansion on it. Like, I have an external hard drive that I think is like 2 terabytes or something.
Yeah,
So I have this much memory as I want now.
yeah. So GoldenEye 007. This is definitely one of the top remembered games. I don't think it's aged as well as a lot of other people do, especially in terms of graphics. They actually probably look a little bit better than they normally would because of the expansion pack. Because while a bunch of games didn't actually require the expansion pack to work, a lot of them did take advantage of it to either have higher resolutions on the textures and things like that. Actually, what are the cheat options we have? Let's go with DK mode, I guess.
What does that mean?
Giant heads in the multiplayer matches.
Okay.
Don't know what turbo mode does. I'll do all guns.
Let's play.
2 players. Normal scenario, I guess. Level.
Complex.
Complex.
I don't know. It was the first one I saw.
First to 20 points, I guess? Maybe not. First to 5. Weapons. The cheats should give us all weapons anyway, so I don't know. I'll do that. Let's see.
I know this sexy woman. Be my character.
So some of them I still haven't actually unlocked on this one, but Odd Job is. If you wanted to piss people off, you would pick Odd Job, because his model is literally half the size of all the rest of them, and because aiming is so janky in this game, you could
do
just
that one.
literally walk around and like people would be shooting directly over your head. Fine, I'll be the sexy lady then. Alright, let's go health. Yeah, normal, that's fine. Control style, honey? Solitaire, kissy, good night, plenty, galore. What?
I'm gonna put good head. It didn't let me do it.
I have no idea what the difference between any of those are.
Alright, whatever, just leave it.
If you pressed A, I think it chooses it. Weird. Alright. Cool. So yeah, like Perfect Dark is one of those games that a lot of the game was actually locked unless you could.
The heck am I doing? How do I shoot people and get a gun?
Z button is shoot.
Z? What is a Z?
The one on the back.
Oh my goodness. I don't have anything to shoot. Look, it just waves my hands.
Oh, yeah, I think you might have to... Look at you. I forgot how janky everything looked in this game.
I don't have a gun. I'm dead.
So Oddjob's a little easier to shoot when he has the giant DK head, that's for sure. But normally, like, those shots would have gone directly over your head.
Yeah, but I don't have a gun.
I don't know why the all guns thing didn't work. There should be guns lying around that you can pick up. There we go.
Oh, I picked up a gun. I don't know how, but I did it.
A button switches between your weapons.
Oh, now I have a pencil.
It does look like a pencil. I always
It
thought
looks
that
like
when I was younger.
that's a freaking pencil. You cannot tell me that that's a gun. That is a pencil! In no world is that a gun.
It's supposed to be an AK-47.
Clearly a pencil.
But yeah, it's these textures are definitely.
Favorite moment of playing video games so far is the giant pencil. I'm Doodle Bob.
And the best part is that paintball mode's on, so it shoots. You can color the walls
paint.
too.
Yo, where are you at? You're behind this wall. With your pencil.
Down here maybe? Where are you? I think we just walked past each other.
Just come over here so I can shoot you.
Hi there. I missed every single one of those shots. No! Get out of here! Oh, I got it. Look!
Damn it!
I got you right as you came around the corner.
Where are you at? We're still in the same place again.
I forgot how to
I don't have a weapon anymore. I no longer have a big pencil.
How do you crouch in this game? Can you crouch in this game? I know there's a way to do it. I think you have to be...
Oh, I picked up a rocket launcher.
Oh, that's right. Okay. You have to...
Whoa!
You exploding yourself?
I don't know what I just did, but it was cool.
So in order to crouch in this game, you have to actually hit the right shoulder
at?
button. Oh no! You killed both of us.
Do I get points
for
killing myself? Oh, I do! I got a count!
Suicide count +1. I think every suicide gets rid of 1 point, so you gained a point and then you lost it.
Aw.
Oh man. Wow, yeah, these controls definitely do not...
Where are you at?
Where are you? Ah! No! How are all my shots missing it?
Because I have a small head.
Oh no. Wow. Damn.
Yeah!
You got me.
Are we playing to 5 kills each? Is that what we're
think,
doing?
Yeah, whoever gets to 5 kills first. I do like the elevator jazz music in this. I remember I was never allowed to play this game when I was younger because it was too violent. And even though everything looks all janky and unrealistic now, at the time it was enough that my mom was like, no, you're not old enough to play.
Shooting paintballs at everyone, it's quite violent.
Yeah, well, I mean, the paintball is the...
Paintballs to the death.
Yeah. Put your eye out with that thing.
I had a substitute teacher in high school who lost an eye from paintballing.
Really?
Yeah, got shot, airsoft. Got shot in the eye with an airsoft gun, lost her eye. She went completely blind in one eye and 20% blind in the other.
Oof.
Because it hit her on the edge.
Yeah, it sucks. The worst injury I've ever gotten from a paintball game was I managed to get shot directly on my knuckle. I got the
pencil! Sorry. Okay, keep going.
I got shot directly on the knuckle that was holding the... Ha! Ow. Ow! I forgot how huge those explosions were for the rocket launchers in this game. A little
overpowered. Made me lose my pencil. I just have a hand.
The slapper. Karate chop me to death. Where are you?
I don't know, but I have no weapons, so you're probably just gonna kill me. I'm just looking for shit.
Don't know where you went.
Oops, this is a school project. I shouldn't be saying bad words. I just saw you. I just saw your head. Yep, kill me.
Oh, are you kidding me? You walked into the explosion.
I didn't die originally. I walked into it.
I shot myself originally.
That's not a suicide count? Ooh, I don't know what I just picked up, but it sounds cool.
Wow, look at those advanced smoke particle effects. I don't know if...
I'm coming.
So this is another one of those
You're very close.
systems I definitely have a lot of memories with. One of my biggest memories, I think, is actually playing Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. And kind of doing like a Let's Play thing before YouTube was really even a thing. Oh no! How are you not dead yet? There we go.
Oh, I was dodging it pretty well for like a second.
Yeah.
And that is our last game for this evening. Or afternoon, I guess.
So
we're at exactly an hour. That worked out weird.
Yeah. So we'll get out of here. One of my memories of playing this game, not this game specifically, but like playing the N64 was actually doing like Let's Plays of Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, where I'd record myself with my commentary, like using weird noises, using like audio tapes and stuff back when cassette tapes were still a thing. So that's one of those interesting things. Like it's like Let's Playing before Let's Playing was a thing, or YouTube was even really a thing. So to end our stream, what would you say are your top 3 favorite games for the Nintendo 64 that you can think of, if you have any?
Well, my all-time favorite one, Mario Kart 64, but we didn't have that. Number 2 was the game we just played, because I thought it was stupidly fun.
Yeah,
and
Goldeneye is definitely a classic.
The third one would be the Pokemon game that we played, because I liked the mini games.
The mini games are really good. I'm not really going to play this one, but I just want to use it as a visual aid. This is probably my top favorite, like my number 1 favorite Nintendo 64 game. It's kind of heresy to say, especially with Legend of Zelda out there and everything, but this was a game that blew my mind as a little kid, just by how weird and like how much of a different culture it was compared to like anything else I played at the time. Like it's very Japanese.
This sounds like the songs I used to dance to in Dance Dance Revolution.
Yeah, it's got like almost that like anime style opening, and
Yeah.
it's just stewed in Japanese culture, and it was one of the first things that really was able to like, jeez, why? No.
You're doing so well.
So yeah, this is my number 1 game that I have to say for Nintendo 64. Number 2 is Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, which is actually my favorite Zelda game in general, even over like Ocarina of Time and the other ones. And then probably number 3, I feel like I'd have to go with probably Mario Kart 64, because I have so many memories of that as a kid, playing against my sisters and playing with my friends and everything. So those are my top 3. As always, there's a link in the description below to vote on any games you want to see us play for next week's episode. We'll be looking at the PlayStation 2. And yeah, you've heard our favorite 3 games for the system. Be sure to comment down below, yeah, exactly what your top 3 games are, a little bit about why, and whatever of your own personal histories and personal favorite memories you have with the system are. So on that note, thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you guys have a great night.
Happy Thanksgiving. Peace out.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and we'll catch you on the next video.